TPOT 21 is the continuation of the competition after TPOT 19, which released nearly over half a year ago at this point, as TPOT 20 was a lore episode. Me, and I bet a lot of you guys were waiting for this episode, dying from excitement as to how all of this is going to be solved. But was it all worth the hype? To a lot of you, it probably was, though any episode will be praised upon release, unless you're TPOT 18. To me at least, it was a fairly decent episode. Nothing extremely groundbreaking as something like BFDIA 23, but nothing nearly as bad as what we've been getting with a good portion of the latter half of TPOT. I suppose now is about time to get into the... First things first, the animation, backgrounds, props, and voice acting are all very good as usual. Some of the animation kind of reminded me of BFB a little bit. I really enjoyed characters such as Grassy and Fiery Jr. this episode. To me, Grassy feels like the only competent person currently alive. He basically nurtured the hotel and actually learned from Snowball's advice. Hell, he probably could have recovered everyone in Free 2 in like 16 years from now, considering how long he took to fix Lie twice. Fiery Jr. was just funny this episode, nothing more but a little gremlin. He truly is the better Fiery. Match's scene this episode was actually quite shocking and impactful. We've never seen her show this level of emotion or even actually being capable of fighting at all. Match's reasoning for going back to Pencil is actually quite wholesome, and makes sense for her at least, since she is her best friend. Tu and Price Tag this episode were a nice little duo, although this could maybe lead to Price Tag maybe taking on Gaty's role, which would be kinda lame, but it's really cute on how these two bonded with each other because of their isolation within the world. Though not necessarily a positive for Tree fans, I'm just so glad he's out and gone for good. He generally served no purpose on the show and hasn't gotten anything to do throughout the entirety of the team swap, yet still managed to survive regardless. Kinda reminds me of a certain ball. It wasn't worth sacrificing Pin, Gaty, or even Robot Flower. He essentially got the TV treatment of getting one interesting thing before it just gets thrown out the window entirely. So far, a lot of the positives have just been about how great some of the characters were in this episode, and the nice little things in between, like the production behind this episode. However, we'll now be diving into the negatives, in which there's a good chunk on. What was the point of Loser being here? You set him up to reunite with Winner in TPOT 18, and they do in the end, but are they just gonna ignore the glaring issue of Loser just straight up abandoning Winner for no reason? There should at least have been a scene of Winner and Loser discussing their unresolved conflict, yet it's never mentioned. They just hug it out and suddenly they become friends again? That's kind of lame if you ask me. Lie was extremely annoying this episode. I already did not like Lie at all. She felt incredibly bland throughout all of TPOT, and her friendship with Pen was extremely awkward and forced, even more than Needle and Pen. This episode decided to expand on her adventurous trait. Unfortunately, she became an annoying adventurer with the attention span of a goldfish. Most of this episode's conflicts are because of her. She split the group up and played aggressively, even though they easily could have won if they worked together, obliviously touched the bug eggs, releasing even more mutated bugs, raged like a little baby because her token was stolen, which caused a series of events to play out, resulting in her team losing. I just can't stand her anymore. I swear, even Tennis Ball was a better antagonist than whatever Lie was trying to be in this episode. The screen time distribution is still as awful as ever, as only two characters are the major focus of this episode, those being Grassy and Lie, and a majority of the latter's screen time was just them being insufferable. Price Tag and Winner are merely side dishes with a couple scenes to themselves, and everyone else are just afterthoughts. Otto getting eliminated was honestly expected. Am I sad? A little, I guess, but I think she got eliminated at a good point in time. However, I really need to express Tennis Ball's votes this episode, because what do you mean he's second safe again after being chased around by the Force a second time? Do you people actually enjoy this shit? Or are you just extremely loyal to this big ball of fluff? In which, that's quite impressive, honestly. You guys might actually have a chance against Needle, though don't hope for the best. I'm still rooting against you on that battlefield. Go Team Needle! Anyway, I better see you lot saving Tennis Ball when he isn't being chased by the Force, otherwise I'm gonna be very upset. And when I'm upset, I cry tears of lava. I personally wish we knew what happened with all the other plot lines, such as Pencil's time travel adventures, Black Hole's confrontation with One, Balloonia and Announcer's space adventures, and I guess the whereabouts of Stapy. Seriously, where is that guy? Overall, this episode had very nice character moments and production put into it, but continues to suffer the same flaws as previous episodes, from an unbalance in screen time or relevance, which almost guarantees someone is going to be eliminated. Poor character writing, as someone is always being tossed into that mess, but I'm just glad it wasn't Tennis Ball for once, since I'm just getting sick of him, and I just want him to be a good character for once. and the pacing was kinda this episode. I feel things were going by kinda slow at some points, but this episode was fairly enjoyable. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Not the worst thing in the world, but I feel it's fairly enjoyable enough in these dark times for Teapot. Plus, this is easily the second best Teapot episode in the later half of the season. I feel we've been struggling in the latter half, especially when it comes to mediocrity or just straight up trash. Looking at you, Teapot 2018. I ended up voting for Price Tag and Grassy this episode. I thought Grassy was the only sensible one in this episode, and I feel he deserved my vote. My first ever vote tossed to him. And Price Tag had a really nice moment with 2, and I feel they're sorta in danger, so that one extra vote could make a difference to getting two friends. If you're wondering about BFDI E5, that episode was just okay. Sticker is still the GOAT because he reminds me of Coiny, Ruler is getting better only because he's Tomska, and David was robbed, it should have been Fern. Though seeing Jamie eliminated was extremely unsatisfying. It's not like I like her or anything, but it just makes her whole henchman gimmick with Ruler feel hollow and unimportant. I always imagined them one-upping each other in the challenge to get the other out, but Sticker of all people got Jamie out. I guess that concludes this video then. If you're wondering who's going to be eliminated in the next episode, I'll just show my thoughts on screen right now. Hope you guys enjoyed the return to BFDI reviews. They'll still most likely be relegated to community posts. I just wanted to try something new, especially since I took a bit of inspiration from Fro Kachao to use my actual voice instead, since I think generally it's more interesting and intriguing and fun too than letting remote voice my videos.
Wait, does this mean I'm fired from my job?
Yeah, basically. It's not like you were working anyways. It's been like 6 months.
You never gave me any work in the last 6 months. We could have covered BFDI 23 together.
Well, I just got lazy, and BFDI 23 was a very dark time in my life. I'll never forgive you viewers for eliminating Coiny.
I'll just stop the video now.